Have you heard of the Washi station? I am going to do a little collaboration with them and I wanted to show you how I do it. I'm going to make 2 washi tapes for their newest collection, Enchanted Forest, but it's actually little guys. I'm very excited about it. I collaborated with Aviva / the Washi Station a couple years ago on a washi tape which I have sold out of, and I really loved it and I used it myself a lot. But I love washi tape as a product. It's so fun to like include in your sketchbook, or like to wrap up gifts for your friends, or stick artwork on the wall with. It's really, really lovely and quite strong. Yeah, let me take you on this little trip to show you how I make and design my washi tape. So several times a year, the Washi Station produces a line of washi tape on a certain theme, and the theme for this one was Enchanted Forest, but actually really it's little guys, which is super cute. So what happened was she gave me some options of what I could make, and I was like, can I do 2? Can I do a thick one and a stamp one? And she said, yep, go for it. Then I went into design mode. So I have been doing a lot of gardening lately, and I've been flowers on the mind, and I wanted to create a washi tape of little gardeners, little guys who help with plants and flowers. So I was looking up a bunch of flowers that I really liked the look of, that were native to Australia. And yeah, so I started with a little bit of a sketch on my iPad, tried to figure out how I wanted it to work, threw down a bunch of ideas, threw down a bunch of little guys that might be some cute main characters for my washi tape. And this Lemonhead one, it's a little character that I've been drawing since, I don't know, since high school. She just like pops up every so often, and I thought this was the perfect opportunity to get her into some finished artwork. She doesn't have a name, so if you've got any name suggestions, I would love to hear them. I roughly measured out the dimensions of what each of the stamp washi tapes would be, and I cut it out really roughly onto a piece of paper and traced them onto my drawing paper. This paper isn't anything fancy. It's really just, I probably shouldn't really use it for Tombow markers because it does bleed a lot, and it's not the best quality. But anyway, it did me pretty well for this thing, and I used Tombow markers. So what I did was I just went off the cuff. I had a couple of sketchbooks open. I had my Scotland sketchbook open with the botanical illustrations, just to like remind me of what I'm doing. I kind of don't like sketching too much. I kind of visualize it in my head sort of and draw it then, and I just make it up as I go. So using a pencil, I did a really light sketch and then just went in there with my Tombow markers and chipped away at each little illustration, carving out what colors and shapes I wanted to go for as I was doing the illustration. So I don't sketch out the entire piece. I sketched out my little character and maybe some of the bigger shapes. At this point, when I was drawing, I was like, I need more than just character and flowers. I'm going to add in some like sparkles and just, some of those patchworky frame elements. In the other design, the second washi tape design, I include more of those patchworky, shapy, colourful elements into it, but these ones were kind of like all about the little guys. And because the washi tape is quite small, I couldn't put in too many tiny details. It had to be very readable, and it had to be big chunky shapes of color and stuff, so it's readable and nice to look at, not too busy. I want people to look at things at first glance and be like, oh, it's flowers and a little guy, rather than being like, what the heck is going on here? I don't understand this silhouette. I don't understand these colors. So yeah. But I thought by adding just a few of my little sparkly, diamondy sparkle motifs, which sort of tie both of the tapes together in some way or another. So Tombow markers are really lovely to use. I love layering them. I love almost painting with them in a way. They layer really beautifully, and not every color is available, so figuring out how to layer things to make the colors work for you is really fun and yeah, a good challenge. So I went ahead and I made 10 of these illustrations. I did them over a couple of days in between other little things I was doing, and they were really nice to do. I did hurt my hand a bit when I was drawing them. I have repetitive strain injury, so I tend to hurt my hand a lot when I am doing jobs like this. I also just got back from a really massive trip to Ireland and Scotland, and the deadline for this was just a couple of days after that. So I had to get a lot of this done within a very short time period. And lucky for me, Aviva let me go over by a couple of days. So yeah, with this one in particular, I wanted my background to be brown, but I didn't want it to be the brown of the marker that I had. So I did a few tests around the edges of the finished drawing, and I found that if I used that hot pink, that fuchsia pink, as a base layer and then do a layer of the brown over the top, it has this nice like maroon richness, this browny maroon color, which I was definitely going for, which looks really nice with the pinks and the acid yellows and like the sage greens as well. So a lot of these I had to layer several colors to get the colors I want. And the dark green backgrounds are 2 or 3 layers to get the dark green that I want. But yeah, I love drawing. I just love drawing. I love drawing with Tombow markers. I love playing with color. So this was a bit of a dreamy kind of job to do. I really, really loved doing this. And doing things that are more illustrative, more cartoony as well. I've recently been doing a lot of slightly more human-ish characters with my magical musical instruments collection. So I really do love going back and doing some really cartoony looking illustrations from time to time, just like the cuteness overload. It's really nice to do. Sometimes I forget about it, and then whenever I do it, I feel good and it's nice. So anyway, after I finished all my pieces, I took them to the scanner. I've got a Canon Lide 400, which is great. It's nothing to complain about. I mean, it's not the most expensive fancy thing, but it scans at really high quality, which is nice. So scanned them up and then took them into Photoshop and did a little bit of a play around, adjusted the colors a little bit, removed some of the dust specks. I made this blank black square as well, which I would be using as a base, which I will explain in a sec for you. But yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is just the raw image before I edited it on the iPad. And before you saw me scan a like blank square, and I ended up filling it in solid. But keeping the raw edges around the edge. So what I'm going to do to make sure that all the washi tapes are exactly the same is I'm going to mask that layer onto the black, so that I'll put the white on, so that they all have the same outline. And I wanted it to be a little bit organic but not too organic. And yeah, so they're all doing that. See, that's the original. And then all cleaned up and nice. So yeah, so that is still the raw image there. And then I have this folder here where everything is looking very nice and good. Yeah, so that's the scans. Just as I scanned them from the scanner, what I did was I cut them out. You can see the difference here. I made the colors a bit more poppy and vibrant and print ready, but kept it as close to the original as possible. I just upped the saturation a little bit and tried to get it as similar to the original as possible, because scans kind of make them look a bit dull. After I then put everything onto the base, I took things into my iPad and fixed them up. So basically doing all these fix-up drawings, this layer,
It took a really, really long time. It actually took a lot longer than the actual illustration, I think, just because it's a bit more careful, it's a bit more back and forth. The brush I used was just one that came with Procreate in the inking category. It's called Pandani. And I liked that one because it has a little bit of a texture to it, like a little bit of a chalkiness to it. So it layered really nicely on top of the original texture of the Tombow markers, and it wasn't too obvious necessarily that it was a fake Tombow marker. Here they all are laid out together on the washi tape. Now where the black lines are, that's where the stamp cutout will be. So they'll look like little stamps that you can tear out individually. And yeah, I'm really happy with how they look. So for the next washi tape, I wanted to do something that was based on an artwork that I had done previously. And these were the original sketches for that. So basically it's a character running through the forest with their dog, because they're going to a flower parade and they didn't want to be late, so they're going to be running through the bushes of the forest. And yeah, these were my initial sketches for that drawing, that painting idea. And then this, I just did a few little drawings on my iPad. This was actually, I hope you can see it. This was actually my first drawing on the iPad of what I wanted the finished artwork to look like. You know, it's nothing. And then it became something a bit more like this. So I could try and figure out the shape of things and the style of things and that sort of thing. And then that became this artwork, which I have a whole video on about, which you can have a look at if you want. This is done with a mixture of watercolor and graphite using smudge sticks. So that's basically the artwork. And then what I did was I went and did a whole drawing on my iPad of this, but in long form for the washi tape. Let me find it. So you can see I trialed another type of washi tape design here. But basically, yeah, this is just a fairly rough, well, it's not rough, it's done, but it's still kind of rough sketch of how I wanted the tape to look like, how I wanted the elements to lay out and that sort of thing. So what I did then was I printed those out. I cut it in half. I printed it onto an A4 piece of drawing paper and then used that to trace. I used the printout to trace onto a clean piece of paper, clean piece of drawing paper, which I then lightly sketched the lines out and did my final Tombow drawing. So here's the process of that. I apologize, I didn't film this one as nearly as much as the other illustrations. I just thought you've seen me drawing enough. You get the idea. I only filmed a little bit of me drawing this, but same stuff. Like I had my outline, I had what I wanted to draw very clear, so I didn't have to worry about that too much. It was now more about color palette stuff. And where I'm going to be placing my colors. So I did do a little bit of a color palette. I don't know, I like culled a bunch of my textures to choose what colors I wanted to use. And a lot of them were colors that I had already used in the other range, in the stamp range. So I grabbed them all out and I just kept swatching at the bottom just to make sure that colors look good together. I tried not to put too many of the same colors next to each other or touching. It's like a balance, a rhythm balance. You gotta find the right spot to put colors in all the time, especially when there are so many elements going on. Like I had these little rainbows and I had these patchwork quilt bits and I had these star bits. So there's like a lot of piecing things together. This is what I ended up with. This is my final of the Tombow marker drawings. So this is the guide of the tape that I needed to follow. So the main illustration goes in the blue section, and then we've got a bit of bleed, which is the dark blue, and then that's the cut line at the edge of the dark blue. And then just all the extra bleed stuff goes right to the end of the white line, just to make sure. But yes, within the safe zone is the light blue. So what I did here, I brought in my scan. So this is the scan, all raw. You can see there's like a lot of bleedy bits, and you can also see that if I put that over the top, it doesn't go all the way to the edge. So this took quite a while to fix up because I had to then go in manually with my Apple Pencil and find the right brush to go all the way, bring everything all the way to the top and to the bottom, which meant a little bit of adjusting here and there. So yeah, this is the before, the cleanup. Yeah, you can see I wanted blue to go all the way to here, but you know, didn't plan it very well. And yeah, spent several hours and cleaned it up, and that's what I came up with. So I wanted to try and keep a lot of the original texture of the Tombow marker, but yeah, just some of the bits needed fixing and cleaning up, and that's where we got to. And here we have the final piece. I made a new guideline using Photoshop, so everything under the blue line is in the safe line, and then the cut lines are beyond that. So yeah, as you can see, I added some little lines in the bird wings and tail, and yeah, just cleaned it all up nicely, made the colors a bit more vibrant than the original. Because it's printing in CMYK, it really dulls a lot of the blues and purples and pinks, so I had to try and soften them and bring them up as much as I could. Yeah, so this is the final piece that I delivered to Aviva, aka the Washi station, and yeah, really excited about it. Looks really fun, looks really good. Hello, it's been now a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, I don't know what's happened. Well, the world keeps going, and I finally got my delivery of washi tapes. I ordered a bunch of them and I'm really excited to show you. Let me show you right now. Okay, let's go. Look at them. Oh, they look so good. Look at these. Look at these. Let's open up so I can show you properly and for real. Okay, first let me remind you of this one that I made several years, like 2 years ago maybe, with the washi station. This was another foresty themed one, and I did a bunch of really cute, almost psychedelic like trees and stuff. Let me put that down there. I love this tape. I use it so much. I think I've only got about 3 left. I've sold out of the ones that I've been selling for people, for customers, but I keep a few for myself. So there's that one, which I love so much. And yeah, I've been meaning to do another little range with Aviva since then, but you know, life and time just goes by so fast. The theme was, of course, the little guys, friends of the forest. So it's almost like an updated version of this one, this new tape that I made. So there's a little naked lady and a dog running and some birds, and it's just like psychedelic patchwork nature. And yeah, it loops, of course. It goes on forever and ever and ever, and I love it so much. It's so colorful, and like you can see the textures of my textures and my markers and stuff, and yeah, it just looks so beautiful. And I really like the thick washi tape. Like, it's a little bit thicker than the first one that I made, but yeah, I really like the thick stuff because you can see it's like a little artwork. And this one, which I think is my favorite, and I think is probably everyone's favorite, the stamp one. Look how cute they look. And again, you can see the texture of the marker on them. Try and get it in focus. They look so good. And of course you can individually stick them on things. But yeah, just like little artworks. And there's 10 individual illustrations as well. And 10, here's the 10th. Yes, how good do they look? And I love that the white is semi-transparent as well, so you can layer it and you can see like a little bit of color underneath, which is super cute. But look at that! Look at my washies. I'm so proud of them. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. I hope you learned something, and I hope you really like my new washi tapes. You can get them at the Washi station now for the next couple of months, and then in the new year, a couple of months into the new year, I will start selling them on my website as well. But for now, go to the Washi station, grab your load. There are so many amazing artists in this lineup this time. I've already done a couple of trades with some of them already. But yeah, love washi tape. I love using it in my sketchbook. I love using it on orders for you when I need to. I use it in my journal, my scrapbook, my junk journal, whatever. I use it to hang stuff up on the wall. It's quite strong. And just to add like little like pops of color in the missing gaps in my sketchbook here and there. I love to put them around. So anyway, love washi tape. It's the best. Okay, toodaloo. See you next time. Bye.